Welcome to the University of Badassery, episode 14. This is CJ Ortiz. I am the mental motivator. And seated across from me, directly about 80 miles, is the fire-breathing professor of ass kickery, the dean who destroys all things douchebaggery. At combat strength training, he is the chief butcher of body brutality. He's the sensei of basic dude stuff, the epitome of toxic masculinity. He's also now the squadron leader of the Keep the Blaze Alive coaching squad. He's the camp counselor guiding you through your coronation, proving every day that age is just a number. And within the sacred halls of heavy music, he is Patrick Heavy Metal McNamara.
Woo! Damn, bro. You have outdone yourself. I was looking to see if you were reading this off of a script or something. You were just winging that. That is impressive, bro. Damn.
Well, I've had some practice.
Holy. Now, everybody listening, they're going to expect more and more each time. I mean, you just set the bar high, bro.
It was funny. We were just talking offline, Metal Mac, about our friend Wes Whitlock. Who may or may not make it out to our way of the country here pretty soon.
Right.
He's got good things happening in his own life, even podcast related.
Yep.
But he called me recently as he was taking a trip out west and was driving with his son. And they were, for the first time, finally going through, because they had all this drive time, going through the University of Badassery podcast. So this is the first time really Wes is going through them, and the first time, obviously, his son.
Right.
And his son tripped on the intros.
It's worth it just for the intro,
It's worth it just for the intro. Yeah, well, you think if you open up with, if you ever hear the actual intro, I'll do the opening thing, and then it goes right into Metal Mike, which you guys better not be turning that down.
Right.
Do not turn the metal down, and then it comes into this. So they'll be like, golly, usually I hate intros to anything. You know what I mean? YouTube, or like previews when you go to the movie theater. They show so many damn previews. I'm asking my kids, what did we come here to see, man? We've been like 6 previews deep,
Yeah, you're 20 minutes into it.
This is one intro where it has to be. It's a University of Badassery podcast.
That's right. It's got to be badass.
Yeah,
Come on.
How can we cut to the chase?
Come on.
Pat and Mac, it's been a while, and we don't have an excuse. That anybody's going to buy. Between he and I, we got plenty of excuse.
Right. You are correct. We have been slacking on our business here in the podcast world. But bro, man, we've been busy as hell.
Yeah.
You're right. We could have slipped this in. We could have. And I tell you, man, the format that we're running today, I think it's cool, and we've done it before, and it's going to be interesting to everybody because you never know where we're going to go.
Exactly. Well, here's the deal, dude. Is I'll get people right in, as I've said before, suggesting guests. Guests are always okay. It's hard though when if I know the guest, Mac doesn't, or Mac knows the guest and I don't. So you had to keep this kind of 3-way conversation. And let's face it, people like our banter. A.
Yep.
And then B, dude, people want to hear a lot from you. So that's why people tune into this podcast. They don't tune into this podcast because we're freaking Jimmy Fallon. You know what I mean? Right. Having on interesting people that we can kid around with. No, they want to listen to the professors of the University of Badassery. So when we get the Q&A, that's really good. But in our defense also, guys, even though I would say there's no excuse for not having more podcasts out, even though I won't do them weekly, because I think you'd get tired of us. We'd get confused with where we're at. But also, guys, you have to understand, and this is our plug, we began the Keep the Blaze Alive coaching squad. What was it, back in May?
Yeah, man. And that's been keeping us, occupied.
There's a few hundred people in the coaching squad, guys. Of course,
more
you're
than
not
400.
there.
More than 400.
So we've got live streams. In fact, we're doing one tomorrow night. We do every Thursday night. We do a weekly live stream every second week. We're also doing a Zoom coaching call with our tier 1. And again, this is face-to-face. This is Q&A. This is real time. This is live. And we'll go for a couple of hours at a time. And Mac will bring coffee. and beer.
Yep.
And whatever else.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got everybody else
a piss bottle.
Yeah, we've got everybody else also who's tuned into the live streams. They're also drinking their beverages of choice, and so it's a real camaraderie. So again, if you guys are thinking about it or on the fence, man, you need to join the Keep the Blaze Alive coaching squad today.
Yes,
there is no reason. The very base level is just $19.97 a month. There is no reason. You spend that on pizza. There is no reason.
How much is the information that's already on there worth?
Dude, there's tons on there.
I mean, if I didn't know that stuff, even knowing the stuff that I know now, I would pay a premium.
Yeah, exactly. And
it's so much freaking information.
Right, and it's the information, but the other part about it is the direct interaction with you, myself, in this kind of format.
Mm-hmm.
And then the community, dude, what's happening in which we didn't anticipate necessarily because we didn't have the Facebook groups, private Facebook groups as a part of the squad. But now that they are, holy crap, dude.
Right. We did not anticipate the team interaction, within the squad itself, and how one squad member's helping out another, and they're sharing resources and expertise because there's so many different SMEs, man, subject matter experts. There's so many different ones from all walks of life. So
we got guys teaching kickboxing. We got guys teaching finance. We got guys sharing, trips that they're on, what they're doing with their kids. Just saw one new squad member posting just an awesome picture of him and his little guy. They were in his first camping trip.
Nice.
And it was just awesome. So the mutual encouragement, people asking questions, getting things answered. So, I know this is a pitch, but damn, you sell what you believe in.
Yep.
So if I were you, I would go to the patreon.com/coaching squad, patreon.com/coaching squad, and sign up today. It's easy to do, and you'll have all the instructions to get inside the Facebook group. Plus, there's a lot of bonuses. The higher you go up in the tiers, lots of other cool stuff on business and marketing, well over 1,000 motivational videos.
Live Zoom calls.
It's awesome, man. So that's that. But speaking of things of which this show is sponsored, Pat Mac, who else is our?
Yeah. So we have, of course, we just mentioned our buddy Wes Whitlock from Rogue American Apparel has another business called Invader Coffee. And if you're not drinking Invader Coffee, you're probably wrong. You need to put a rubber band around your neck and snap the hell out of it. And then I'm holding up my own blend right here, the T-Max Inc. Blaze Ops blend,
which I'm drinking at the moment.
Double dark, baby. But yeah, so Invader. And then we also have Taconic, right? Taconic, this is bottle's empty. Taconic Distillery Bourbon, which, for you bourbon drinkers, I will, and you've heard me say this before, it's my favorite bourbon.
Yeah.
I would not endorse a product that I would not comfortably purchase, myself. I mean, this is good stuff.
Yeah, it is.
That Taconic, it's freaking awesome, man.
Yeah,
thanks to those guys.
We've got several of our group members who've also started drinking Taconic in the squad. My son drinks it now, and in fact, Paul just sent me that batch that you told him to cook up for me with the labels on them. I thought I pulled out one. I thought, okay, he did one label.
Mm-hmm.
And then I pulled out another
several
bottles. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He had pictures of like people that didn't even belong on there. You just like grabbing photos from Instagram or something. But man, so freaking cool. So again, sponsor who's been to your courses, and
I'll see him in a week and a half.
That's right. You're going up to Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. All right, Pat Mac. I know you and we update the squad and all that kind of stuff. Give everybody a real quick update of how Mac's Coronation, so much has changed since we talked to the people publicly.
Yeah. When did we do the last one of these? It was during Coronation.
It was during Coronation. Yeah. Something.
So since Coronation, we started the coaching squad. I modified my whole work plan where I am not going to do as much traveling anymore. As a matter of fact, I posted my 2021 schedule already, and it's all North Carolina. I am.
There you go.
Yep. I am done with it. I'm done with dragging all my shit to an airport every single freaking week and checking into a hotel, getting a rental car, driving to that range. Nope, I'm done with that. So I started also, I really modified the way I've been working out because gym's closed and I don't think I'll go back to a gym anymore. So I've been pushing my bands.
Hold that thought.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm surprised somebody didn't answer. Maybe somebody did ask that question, but that's a great question to answer.
Well, the only reason I need to go to a gym is to do stuff like sparring.
Okay.
You know, because I need that interaction.
Right.
I got a neighbor though who was an MMA fighter.
Okay.
So, and he could hold mitts and stuff like that. So I but I don't think I need to go to a gym anymore.
All right.
I'm pretty sure I could do it all right there in my driveway.
Corona Gym, bro.
Yep. Corona Gym, Corona-cation Gym, baby. So a lot of things have changed, you know. And the good thing about the Corona-cation for me was the amount of stuff that I've been able to get done. You should have seen my whiteboard this morning, CJ. My whiteboard was filled. You were on it even. I had to cross off 2 things I needed to get done with you. But I had so many chores just this morning. I just finished right before we started recording.
That's all MD was, a chore.
But yeah, it's been going good. Corona-cation's been good for me.
Now, you feel a little bit, just share a little bit about your family life, or you?
Yeah, sure. So big change, right? Rebecca and I recently got custody of our 2 kids. Now they're near adults. They're 17 and 18, but it's been a long struggle. It's been 8 years worth of work, 8 years in the court system, paying lawyers and enduring that massive freaking ass wound. So there's been a life adjustment for all of us, but it's been good. It's been very positive all the way around. Yeah. Everybody feels good about it. Yeah, and and we're all taking baby steps and we're communicating well. Yeah. So it's been a massive change in our lives with a lot of minor adjustments, but yeah, man, it's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, guys, you have to, unless you're up close and personal with Mac, you don't really see how significant this year has been in terms of a life change for them. Yep. First of all, the majority of his mainstay, his business, just immediately vanished, just like a lot of people did because of the virus. But immediately he, switched on a dime and pivoted, went the other way. We started the squad, but then he just work multiplies for those who keep themselves busy, for the productive. He's not looking for things to do. He's got plenty of things to do. But then imagine adding then 2 kids.
Right.
So he went from traveling all the time, which is kind of one of the reasons why it was difficult to get the kids, because you're not there.
Right. Yep. That was a big strike. That was a big strike against me in the court system. Everybody knew that I should have had them, that they should have been with me versus their mom. But because I was gone so much, it was a big strike against me. But now I'm here.
So he gets now this time with his kids, and obviously that's just more than just fun, food, and fellowship. That's, as he was talking to me offline, that's dentists, that's stores, that's school, that's all of these things.
Yep.
And all, of course, during, again, the limitations of the COVID-19 effect, but prevailing. And so he's just as busy as he was before, but for me, he's a little bit easier to get a hold of.
Right. Right. Stress levels have gone down. I am probably busier now, but stress levels have gone way down, Yeah. I mean, think about 19, all the crap that I ran into between gout and pneumonia and exhaustion and not being able to eat for a week. And then the transient global amnesia and all that bullshit, Yeah. So, yep. My blood pressure is back to normal.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Well, so, so this is the best thing for Mac. And for those of you who maybe, hoping he was going to come out to your range in Seattle or Portland, it ain't going to happen.
Nope. No time soon.
Yeah, no time soon. That's right. But anyway, good things in store today, because we're devoting this whole episode, Pat Mac, to Q&A.
Yeah, man.
Haven't done this in a while, but these are always fun. So let me get my questions here situated, and we've got a bunch of them. So for those of you who send in questions and we don't get to them, it's just because once I asked them, I got a bunch, and I got to get those forwarded to Mac so he has time to go through them before we start the podcast. So Here we go. Question number one. Question one of 350. No, I'm kidding. Question number one for Mac. Longtime Instagram, YouTube follower and member of the squad, and big time CST member too. That's why he had to be question number one.
Yep.
They've all been instrumental tools in my life. Question is, do you have any plans to start a CST app for people who bought the program?
Absolutely not. I've tried to build an app before, and it is a pain in the freaking butt, man. And there's costs involved, a lot of legwork. You need time devoted to building that. You need money up front. And so I'm doing my best with what I have. For instance, posting on IG a lot of different examples of workouts. And I'm doing that for you guys. That's why I put up so many different workouts. It's not about, being self-centered. Look at me. I'm explaining what I'm doing in those workouts, giving you guys fodder, giving you fuel, and giving you ideas in the event you can't generate your own. So I'm using social media platforms to do that. Here's an example of speed and quickness. Here's an example of power, and I'm going more and more with the minimalist, with the home gym type of stuff. Not saying you can't do these in a regular gym. You can, but so absolutely not. I'm going to stick with the social to.
Yeah, you can get by with that. And that's kind of, it is not a science per se, right? We're not going so much on the empirical data. Did you do 3 more reps than you did last week kind of thing, right?
Yep.
How much?
And if you join the squad, I will personally answer your questions.
There you go. Mac, how much do you go by feel when you train? Feel, just.
Oh, a lot. Yeah, a lot of it. One of the things I try to do is recognize voids. So that's feel, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
you're talking about feel like your attitude or feel like how your body's moving?
All of it.
Right. So a lot of it, I go by feel. I sit in my garage and I imagine it first, Right. Because guys always say, how do you come up with these ideas?
Yeah.
Imagine me sitting in my garage, jamming on some Megadeth or Slayer and just looking and visualizing it.
Right.
And then I'll go try something out. Let me try to stand on one foot and load this side while I am, in a awkward position. And then if I can't do it, I realize that's what I need to do.
Yeah.
Because I know it's possible.
Right.
It's possible because I've seen gymnasts do it or whoever,
Right.
So I have to go by feel, that whole kinesthetic awareness and proprioception and stuff.
Question number 2, for some context, we are a single income family as my wife homeschools our kids. I've read the Sentinel book and listened to all the podcasts. My question, what are some real practical steps I can take to better myself as an AIC, agent in charge? I have martial arts, weapons, firearms training experience, but I can't afford to take special classes or things of that nature now due to our situation. Choosing to sacrifice an income to better my legacy, which are my children. I feel isolated because many men don't share my views, and mostly men today can be flaccid and lack proper aggression. Let me just stop this guy right here and say, dude, you need to be in the squad.
Right. No kidding.
You're looking for companions. So there isn't that much competitive push for greatness. You need to get in the squad. I watch guys work out and apply them to my own, but I want more practical goals. My foundation for pushing myself is protecting those who cannot protect themselves. As this comes from being bullied as a kid, I want to take whatever steps to better myself and the people around me.
Yep. Good reason, right? Protect yourself, not just to protect yourself, but those around you. Good reason. That's what I always say. I never want to relinquish an opportunity to be Batman, to protect those who can't protect themselves. That includes your family. And seeing as how you said your kids are your legacy and you're looking for ways to better improve, make them part of your protection detail, not liabilities, but assets. Make them a part of it. So if you're the agent in charge, if you're the AIC, make them shift leaders. They're the SLs. Make them outer security. When my kids were little, they used to love doing that stuff. Where I'd say, "You take point, you do this." I'd give them little tasks. What was that girl's name? Which way is the exit? And this kind of stuff. And it doesn't cost, right? Because I understand the costing. It doesn't cost to be better mentally prepared and to exercise good situational awareness. Now, don't make it a chore with your kids. I don't know how old your kids are, how old you are, but make it more like a game, like Kim's game type of stuff. And if you don't know what a Kim's game is, look that up on the interweb, right? Kim's games, great way to exercise the brain, in memorization. As a matter of fact, CJ, I'm putting that down as a video for the squad.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I hate to again sound like I'm pitching, but this guy just sounds like he needs the squad, bro. I mean, if he wants that, again, more workouts, more practical goals, more competitive push to greatness, and be surrounded by people who are just like you, man.
And most of the stuff that he's asking is already up there in video format.
Yeah. So you'd have everything there, dude.
Join the squad, bro.
Yeah, join the squad. Number 3, without violating any sort of OPSEC, is there a time or event you can remember that when you look back on it, you say to yourself, man, I can't believe I got paid to do that?
Bro, there were so many. When I read that question, I was cracking up. I was laughing my ass up because we used to say that all the time. Can you believe we're getting paid to do this? Most of that's in training, right? Most of that's in training. Like when I first got to a squadron, we did building training in Houston, Texas. So we were working with Houston SWAT, and imagine downtown Houston flying on the outside of a little bird at 11 at night on the outside of a little bird about 60 feet off the ground at 90 knots between skyscrapers, just zipping in between skyscrapers, stuff like that. I mean, it was like, holy crap, bro, we're getting paid to do this, because the feeling is you have this feeling of being invincible,
right?
Like you are Superman, you are impending doom, bro.
Death from above.
Oh man, there was so many of those times. Most of that was training, and a lot of training sucked because it has to, but some of it was just like, holy crap, I can't believe I'm getting paid to do this amount of halo jumps, or do these water operations. This is so freaking cool. It sucks, but it's so cool, flying in on a CH-47 on the Yellow River in Florida or something and jumping out of that thing along with a soft duck Zodiac. And it's like, holy crap, man, this is the coolest thing ever. I mean, if people could see this, they would freaking crap themselves because this is bad ass. So yeah, there's a couple examples.
All right, number 4, for both of us, to either one of you do intermittent fasting. Mac?
Not on purpose. It's not part of my scheme of maneuver for the day.
Right.
But there's a lot of times where I get up and I don't eat for until 1 in the afternoon. I don't have a set schedule of when I eat. Sometimes I'll eat, and sometimes I do, because when I look up what intermittent fasting is, I realize, I did that 2 days in a row. It's not on purpose.
Right.
It just happens. I just go with what my body tells me to do. I don't follow any of that stuff. I mean, some days I get up and eat at 6 a.m. and I'll have to eat 5 times a day. Other days I'll eat twice. I'll have a big brunch because it's too late to call it breakfast, and then eat a dinner,
right? Whatever
you want to call it. I don't have set meal times.
Well, I'm a keto guy. I have been since January of 2016. So yeah, I do intermittent fasting, which I would imagine would be the perspective this individual's coming from. I'll eat 2 meals a day, and they're usually heavy on the fats. So I don't want to necessarily eat anything else. And I don't snack. So because I don't snack, then I'm not spiking insulin. So that means insulin stays low. My body stays in ketosis. It's is able to recover and do all the nice little things that it likes to do when it doesn't have to keep, eating Doritos and that sort of thing. So I think Mac understands that, like what he's saying, he's following his body, whatever he feels like. He's not gorging himself. Mm-mm. You know what I mean? He's not reckless with his eating. And he is also not thinking that he's digesting his muscle because he hasn't eaten till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. He's not having a mood swing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So he certainly understands the benefits of not eating. Number 5, for Mac, what was the most rewarding part of your operations in East Germany?
I think just knowing how we were contributing as far as intelligence wise, the amount that we were contributing to the security of our republic during the Cold War, because it was after I was there for a while in the one job where I was, doing the spying on the Soviet army, that we got briefed on the percentage. It's like 90% of all the intel, on the Soviet army came from what we were doing.
Right.
And we were tiny, tiny, but it was all hands on. It was all eyes on. It was right there. It was close target recce, CTR stuff. So I think that was the most rewarding. I mean, I thought about anecdotes and stuff like that. It was also rewarding to talk to lower level Soviet troops, because they weren't hardcore communists,
Right.
They were just conscript army dudes. And I would exchange lunches with them and badges off of my uniform and such like that, and have a smoke with them. Even though I didn't smoke, I would fake it because they all smoked.
Yeah.
So I'd have Marlboros and they'd have these cigarettes called Garrison. And Garrison sucked. And I would always trade them a pack of Marlboros for their Garrison. And then I would get back and throw them in the garbage.
Now, what if it was reversed and you had been in your tier 1 unit and then left that tier 1 unit to go into some sort of espionage work?
What about it? What do you mean?
How much different would you have been?
Oh, I would. I don't think if it were the same job, I would have done the same thing, only with a different attitude. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I don't think the focus on the mission would have changed at all.
Do you think being in a tier 1 unit can make you a better intelligence person?
Oh, no doubt. Yeah. Because you're always improving, the brain's always getting better. You're able to figure stuff out more. You're able to come up with problems to solutions that are ambiguous in nature better. You're reading people better, all that stuff. So yeah, no doubt.
Are you more lethal?
Yeah, definitely. Oh, bam. Way more lethal.
Way more lethal. All right. Number 6. For Mac, I'm seeing a lot of back and forth recently in the debate over whether to use high or low port when doing room entries CQB. Mm-hmm. Thoughts or preference? Same with the sole position with the pistol. I don't know if I said that right.
Yeah, it's fine. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, the Thule. I'm sorry to tell you this, but that high port is gimmicky. It's very gimmicky. It was born out of CQD, close quarter defense. So it was born out of that fight system. So that way, if you enter a room at high port and you ended up in a Murphy moment, you could bash the undercarriage of your rifle into that would be adversary's nuggets and produce some chiclets. But I can't stand it. Personally, anytime I've worked on the range with people who high port, I'm getting flagged every single time. It's without fail. No, don't argue with me out there. It is without fail. I've done this before. I've been on the range before. And then I can't understand the concept of having a gun blocking your view of what is in front of you. I can't seem to fathom the practicality there. So I am not a fan of it at all. I think it's pretty gimmicky, but there are a lot of gimmicky things out there. Yes. And as far as the Sewell goes, which is south and what's it called? Brazilian. You don't have any retention on that pistol. I prefer more of just a compact ready position where you have both hands on the gun. If you're, and I demonstrated this past weekend, because there's a course of fire where, a lot of course of fire where we're moving and you have to move up range, down, back and forth. And I told the guys, compress ready, compress ready when we're doing this. And I demonstrated how I can move them amongst them without flagging any portion of myself or any portion of them. And one guy asked if he could run Sewell. And I said, sure, whatever floats your boat. And afterwards he goes, you're not a fan of that, are you? I go, clear your gun, take the mag out, take the round out, hold that in a Sewell. I said, hold it as tight as you can. And I held a pinky up like this, and I snatched the pistol from him. Whoop! And he was like, "What in the hell just happened?" I said, "No, do it again. Hold it hard. Whoop!" snatched it from him. I said, you've got no control over that thing. None. Try it sometime. Hook that pinky right where the front sight post is.
Can you show me with your hands? Because I know some people will see this on video, what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't have a pistol right here, but if the pistol's here and the front sight is right there. Oh, the Sewell, it's where you're holding the pistol.
Right.
And your support hand is kind of protecting it.
Really?
And I think your thumbs are interlocked. I'm not sure. It's because I've never used it and I don't want to, because there's no control over the pistol.
Is the objective to just like a running back protecting the football?
Yeah. And it's kind of a safety measure. It's for it's supposed to be for weapons retention, but it does not retain the weapon. Once again, a little gimmicky. One guy thought of it and he dreamt it up, gave it a name and sold it. And people went, this is a great freaking idea. It's a great idea. But there's a lot of those things out there, those little gimmicks, gizmos, and gadgets that people have bought, in training, whether they bought it gizmo or they bought a gimmick. There's a lot of them out there. Sometimes you got to question them because damn, some of them just suck.
Number 7. From Aaka, I'm a doctor of physical therapy as well as a firefighter and the owner of AOS Custom Orthotics. My questions are, what is the best address to send you a custom? Oh, excuse me, forget that. Are you guys speaking about the ways for you or your listeners to build resiliency in their bodies for longevity? With my background, I'd love to help answer questions about how to bulletproof your body. When
I talk about CST, what's the first of my explanation? My first, when I define it, self-preservation longevity, number 1. As far as contact address, just send me an email, mac@tmaxinc.com. But the number 1 reason, or when I define combat strength training, first and foremost is self-preservation longevity. It's called fitness, not brokenness. Listen to your body. There's no such thing as overtraining, but there is a such thing as under recovery. Working all planes of motion. It's all about that. It's all about self-preservation longevity. That is number 1. That's what I talk about more than anything when it comes to that CST program, because you don't want to, you're defeating the purpose of exercise if you're getting hurt, or if you're not thinking about stronger, longer. You got to preserve that shit. You only have so much cartilage and, your body can only take so much wear and tear. So you want to, perform that maintenance and make sure that you're planning your strategy out well, that you're warming up well, that everything is loosey-goosey. So yeah, that's number 1. So absolutely.
This is number 10 for the both of us. What are your go-to metal tracks to get you psyched for a workout? Mad respect for the work you do too.
That was a cool question, because there's one that I love because it starts slow, and I like metal songs that start real slow and kind of, you like Ghost Walking, or there's several Lamb of God songs that start out real nice and easy, like Grace. Grace starts that way, where it's just peaceful acoustic guitar and then rip into it. But another example, and one that just fires me up, is Down Again by Chimera, because that starts with piano,
right?
And it's probably close to a minute of piano, but what's coming. And when it comes, bam, man, I mean, it is flesh ripping, paint peeling, bone snapping. And just try that tune, right? Down Again by Chimera, and you'll see what I mean. And even the video, like the YouTube video or whatever, I think when the piano's playing, it's got a guy walking through tall blades of grass, like arm length or hand length, and it's just like fields of wavy grass, and it's so apropos for that tune. And then when they rip into it, it's like in a, big factory warehouse or something with welders and crap like that, and slag and sparks.
Yeah. Even though I use the moniker Metal Motivator, there aren't really anything I go to, because I guess I just don't approach it that way. I'm going to train. You know what I mean? There's no like, I got to get myself psyched up for it. Not because I'm ultra psyched. It's something I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I'm emotionless for the most part. So I'm just turning on the metal. What gets me going is the preliminary exercises that starts the circulation. That's what gets me to where I'm like, okay, now I'm ready to really move. Now I'm ready to really push hard. So that's what gets me going is blood moving. So yeah, I mean, the metal helps certainly, but nothing like starting off with those preliminary exercises.
Yep.
Number 11, Pat Mack. Can you suggest a damn good IPA that is local? I'm in Harnett County.
You know, I used to live in Harnett County. It's north of Spring Lake. Nice, like sleepy area, you know, very Americana. There's no breweries up that way, but, you know, north from in Greensboro, there's a ton, and Raleigh and Cary. What I would suggest to you is get that app, that Untapped app, and follow me, Pat Mac 65. Because I had 2 new ones yesterday at the Growler shop, and they were both North Carolina. And if you just stuck with North Carolina beers, you would have a plethora. You wouldn't run out. I mean, North Carolina is killing it right now, killing it. But if you just went to a grocery store, there's North Carolina beers in there too. For instance, Foothills is out of, that's not Charlotte. Maybe that's Greenboro. But look for like Foothills, Hop Yum or something like that. You know, in your food line in Harnett County, they probably have that guy right there. And that'd be a great one. But yes, I mean, if you're in North Carolina, stick with those North Carolina, you know, try what North Carolina has to offer, because they have a lot, man. And my local brewery might even have beer in your grocery store, Southern Pines Brewing. So their Man Law, that is good stuff, bro. You will not go wrong with that.
Number 12, Pat Mack, can you elaborate some on the natural point of aim?
Yeah, so what he's talking about, CJ, because when you went through my pistol course, we really didn't talk about natural point of aim. I talk about it more with rifle course because it coincides with BRM, basic rifle marksmanship, right? Good old-fashioned BRM lingo, that you must build a position to achieve a natural point of aim. And the clarity by which something is defined will determine the effectiveness of its application. I like to say that because it makes me sound smart. Natural point of aim is easier to describe with a rifle, but it could also be done with a pistol. For instance, in bullseye shooting. My definition of natural point of aim is to be comfortably on target with zero muscular input. So in a prone position with a rifle, as much of your body and the rifle on the ground as possible. Rifle stock deep into the pocket of your shoulder, cheek stock welt straight up, eyeball at least 1.5 inches of eye relief between your eyeball and the optic, looking directly to the center of the aperture, high up on the pistol grip, as far out as you can with your support hand on your handrail. You know, and you should be super comfortable. You should be able to go to sleep in that position. So comfortably on target with zero muscular input. With a pistol, let's say if you were doing bullseye shooting, let's say strong hand, 25-yard bullseye. You want center of gravity over your feet, you know, directly over your feet. And then you want to blade off slightly to the target. Bring the pistol straight up to see if it's in line with your eyeball naturally. If you have to cant the pistol or if you have to push it left or right at all, then you know you're not in natural point of aim. But it's great to know, especially for BRM, and it's key. Oh, the other thing, natural point of aim, rifle, no cant in the rifle, straight up and down with the rifle. No cant.
Right.
Cool question.
Number 13, Mac, what is the biggest misconception about the unit?
You know,
that it exists.
Yeah, I think that one, chewing the fat with guys on the range, because I had to think about that. I was like, are there misconceptions? And then I realized, like, at lunchtime when I'm talking to guys on the range, they go, really? You had to do that? It's like, yeah, man, we had to pick up our own brass, bro. Like, you had to pick up your own. Yeah, we had to pick up our own brass. Yeah, we had to make our own targets. Yeah, we had to backside our own CQB lanes. Yes, we even made our own equipment and gear. and once because we designed all our own stuff, and then all ideas. Another one that blows people's minds is that ideas, TTPs, SOPs, all that stuff are generated from bottom up, because they want to, they don't want to, they want to make sure that they're encouraging that expeditionary mindset, free thinking, imagination, creativity. So I think those were a couple that people are like, oh, I never would have thunk of that. Huh. Yeah, we pick up our own brass, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be the error would be not on misconceptions, but
right.
You're thinking too much.
Well, I think, immediately I defaulted to the cowboy thing because of Black Hawk Down.
Yeah.
You guys are a bunch of cowboys. But I think most people know that's not true anyway, because the unit was the least of the as far as cowboys go, and, military and law enforcement, that's where you find the fewest.
Right.
Guys are freaking serious there, man. I mean, extremely serious.
Yeah. So the order is kept for other reasons or in a different way, more self-imposed than it would be in regular Army, even
correct
for Rangers, right?
Yeah. You have more responsibility because you're a more mature, more adult troop. Right. You've already been through a bunch of different special ops units. You've been special forces, a ranger, or other service special ops. And then you've gone through this extensive selection process, vetting process, shrinks, 6 months of OTC. So the responsibility is up to the individual. A lot of shit isn't force fed on you.
Yeah, the more you govern yourself, the less you're governed by others. And
correct.
So, so you're not going to be regulating your kids when they're 38 years old, right? So,
yep.
But your kids will hopefully show respect when they're in your home and still honor you as mother, father, what have you. But, that hierarchy is gone. They're self-governing now. So think of it that way. From Aaka, do you have Sentinel home protection tips for people who can no longer own firearms? Prefer to remain anonymous for obvious reasons. I've made some very poor decisions early on, and I hold myself fully accountable for my actions and respectfully abide by the rules now. As I've grown, I've had a family, want to protect them, but legally I cannot own a firearm. Any advice?
Yeah, and, we talk a lot about this. We talked about it on way back in Meta Motivation podcasts.
Right.
Because when we talk, like if I talk Sunday Sentinel sermon stuff or writing the Sentinel book, I have to assume that there's people reading that or taking my advice who don't have fire. They could be in other countries, right, or states where it's a pain in the butt, or they could have, made mistakes early on and they don't have them. And you've heard me say this out there, just because you have a gun doesn't mean you're armed. The mind is the final weapon. All else is supplemental, right? So it's not about the gun being a sentinel. It's about being situationally aware. It's about being mentally and physically fit. And as far as like your home goes, I have to assume once again that gun is secondary. It's not a primary. Primary for home is, having covering dead space with lights, with floodlights, covering areas of defilade and dead space with cameras, so that way what you can't see from your home, you could see on a monitor. Having a good torch, a handheld flashlight, having those kind of things readily available. Having supplies, so you don't get caught with your pants down in the event a quarantine happens, which a lot of people got caught with their pants down. Just recently, the storms that ripped through recently, Midwest and all, guys lost power forever. The amount of notes I got, both positive and negative, were so funny. Dude, thank you so much for reminding me to fill my cars full of gas and to have gas because it's all shut down now. And then it was just the opposite too. Bro, I should have listened to your advice because I am out of gas.
Yep.
So, but I've got a ton of notes just recently about that. Don't get caught with your pants down. And if you have in the past, don't let it become a recurring theme. Learn from that stuff. So the gun isn't the answer. The mind is, what you do with it and how you prep your family and how you view your lay of the land, your little layer, your little chunk of real estate, your tiny little sanctuary.
And get a puppy.
Yeah, man. Dog, bro. Yep. It's a pain in the ass for a couple of years. But after that, don't have to be ferocious, just vociferous.
Yeah, man. My car is backed in,
Right
locked,
on.
full,
Yep.
ready to go, man. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Your life changes when you hang out with Pat Mack.
Yeah.
All right. Number 15. Mac, how would you direct or execute the fight against human trafficking?
That's a tough one. I like what's going on now. With this administration, the amount of human trafficking has been cut down substantially. You're not going to hear the stats on the news because the news doesn't want to report that stuff. But controlling our border is a big one, and it's like this administration has arrested like, oh man, 75% more than previous administrations. And we've cut down like 3/4 the amount, in recent years on human trafficking. It's still an absolute travesty though, the shit that's going on. And very, very few people know about it. And those who disclose truths somehow end up committing suicide.
Isn't that funny?
Yep. And it's at the highest levels of entertainment and government. So, we got to control the border. We've got to pay more attention to our ports, ports of entry and stuff like that. We've got to let police do their jobs. We can't tie their hands. And I think more and more, there's more private companies emerging who are battling this, who are taking it to heed, to battle, and which is a good thing because shit that's going on is not good, man. If you start going down that rabbit hole, it is spooky stuff. I mean,
Mac,
it's scary.
Could not the argument be made that Sentinel is the first line of defense?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, right on. Yeah, good. First line of defense, right? Yeah, good. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, good point, CJ.
So that we don't need to be saved all the time. We can be that first line of defense.
Yep.
Pat Mack, any advice on a workout plan for someone with type 1 diabetes? I've been struggling since my retirement with joint damage secondary to my diabetes, and I'm pretty much ready to call it.
Oh, man, this is a tough one because we run into a lot of these, guys who have ailments, and they're all over the map, right? It could be, really bad joint replacements or back surgery or recovering from cancer, those kind of things. And I always say it's basically the same, start out slow and make incremental improvements, but get focused on it and learn how to motivate yourself. Like our mantra on the University of Badassery says, you got to be an ass kicker, but the first ass you have to kick is your own. Right. So you've got to learn how to kick your own ass. You've got to get it moving. You've got to pay attention to doctor's orders, because I don't know a lot about diabetes, but the thing is, it's all the same. If you're in major setbacks like that, if you have medical conditions that are, debilitating, you've got to do something. You have to, you got to start slow and you've got to make just incremental improvements. You got anything to add on that one?
Yeah, I would just say from a nutritional standpoint, I think you need to go to work because doctors only know how to cut and prescribe. So that's going to be very, very limited. And I've seen, read, and have met numerous people who have healed their diabetes through nutrition, primarily through some sort of paleo or keto type of diet, where the blood sugars are going to be, leveled out and your body's going to have the opportunity to restore itself. Intermittent fasting is really good for people with type 1 diabetes. So I would look into that. I'm not telling you to do it. I'm telling you to look into some nutritional options, because I think if you can get that, then you're obviously going to be able to do more on the physical side. But, if your diet's prohibiting you, then just go lighter. I mean, but like Max says, motion is lotion. You know what I mean? So whatever that motion may be, do something, and until you can get to the place where you can do other things. Number 17 for Pat Mack. This is Joe from Texas. I'm an ex-Army engineer officer, Afghan vet, now an investment sales manager guy at a very big bank brokerage firm. I busted my ass to do well, make the right choices, got 4 different investment licenses, not as accomplished as a unit guy. but still good in my world. Anyway, my question is this. As a unit guy, did you ever feel like you were a fraud or inadequate? How did you deal with that? And the follow-up, see if you want to just tie this in. As the elite of the elite, if you felt inadequate, how did you deal with the mental mind fuck associated with that? As a severe type A guy, that's always not satisfied with your own performance. It's something I deal with every day. Please, blah, blah, blah.
Well, I never felt inadequate, but I made mistakes. And the best way to recover from those, or the feeling of inadequacy, is to own it. Own up to it, shoulder that burden, own up to it, and grow from it. Inadequate, I was trying to think about it. I never really did. I mean, I felt mediocre at times, which I guess can be
That's right.
because I was dealing with, the planet's finest commandos, and there's always somebody better. I wouldn't call it inadequate, but I did feel mediocre. And that just said to me, you know what? I got to freaking work harder, bro. Man, because there's always somebody. And then you work harder on this thing, and then you realize somebody's better at you at this thing. And you get good at that, and then there's somebody better at you at this thing. And then you realize you don't know anything about this thing over here. So there was always catch up to do, always. But yeah, man.
Yeah, it's kind of a psychological question.
Right.
Than it is anything else. Because who knows that this feeling of fraud or inadequacy is genuine. It's not a deception, self-deception in and of itself. We used to say back in the church days that God's never had anybody qualified working for him yet. So,
yeah, cool.
Nobody's qualified. So there is no standard. It's just, it's you against you, right?
Yeah.
You've got to be better than yourself tomorrow.
Right. Yeah.
And, so, be that very best version of yourself that you can. And since you don't have an axe hanging over your head every day in the bank brokerage world, don't worry about it. Mac had an axe hanging over his head. Right. All right. For both, I'm going to leave this one to Mac because I've never been a Tool fan. Mac, thoughts on Tool's newest album?
I think the Tempest, that one is cool. I haven't heard all of it, but I'm becoming more and more of a Tool fan because on my Pandora station I listen to, Chimera station, they played a Tool song, so I gave it a thumbs up, and so they're playing a lot of it now, and it's cool. But I don't know the album, but every time I hear that Tempest tune, I crank that up. I think it is cool, man. And there's some real, you could feel the work that's gone into that. These guys didn't just wing it. They just didn't go into a studio and say, hey, let's just start jamming and see what happens. Because a lot of bands make magic that way. Let's just start jamming. Let's just see what happens. Let's go off with this riff and we'll see what happens. You could feel the work that's put into that. I mean,
it's a prog band.
Yeah.
Right.
Man.
So there's, if it's a prog band, it's good. Whether you like the band or not, it's a prog band. It's like saying you don't like Rush. Okay. Well, that doesn't mean Rush is bad.
Right.
It just means you don't like Rush. You know what I mean? You might not like classical either, but you're going to say Bach sucks. Mozart sucks. All right. For Mac, number 19, can you cover your stretching and warm-up routines?
A lot of people ask about like stretching because I'm flexible.
Right.
I incorporate the stretch into my workouts. So my workouts have a lot of stretch in them. Right. So let me start from the beginning first. Like when you see me working out, what you don't see is a warm-up. And a warm-up, I'm usually replicating what I am going to do during the workout with zero resistance. So I'm going through the motion, I'm feeling it out. And if there's something tweaky, if I feel a tight hamstring, I'm going to do more and more of that particular motion without any resistance. The stretch comes during the workout. For instance, like people see me kicking Bob in the face and they go, oh my God, you must stretch all the time. No, I am doing low kicks first, then a little bit higher, then a little bit higher, then a little bit higher. And a lot of that's during the warm up. So now during the workout, I've got this reach and this flexibility. So it comes to me in the workout. I don't put a lot of thought into it. A lot of people say, hey, you've got to do dynamic stretching first, and then you do static stretching after. And, it's all systematic and formatted. Mine's not formatted at all. And I had did a podcast with an orthopedic surgeon a couple months back, and I talked about this, and he was like, man, spot on. That's what you should be doing, is replicating your workout, especially if you're doing power moves and stuff like that. You do it slowly initially. You replicate the movement without any resistance. And you do that until your body says, okay, it's time now. And then even with the first like rotation through a circuit, I'm not putting everything into it, because I don't want to get jacked up. But by the fourth or fifth revolution, I am, going that 90%, and it just ends up feeling right. And then, a lot of people aren't limber because they're freaking dehydrated, man. It's diet again, lack of potassium and hydration and all this stuff. So you've got to make sure that your diet's good too.
Yeah. Now, one thing that I thought was really interesting, sometime back, you had met this guy who was a motocross guy, and he took you out to the track, and you got all geared up and you were running around this track. Now, everybody's had this experience where summertime, you go over to somebody's house, you go out and play volleyball all day, and you're sore as hell the next day because you're using muscles all day that you don't normally use. Now, this guy told you after you spent a bunch of time riding this motocross bike, he goes, man, you're going to be sore as hell the next day.
Right.
What happened?
Nothing. Zero soreness. Now, I was kind of anticipating. I told him, yeah, you're right. I probably am going to be. But it's such great affirmation knowing that you're a product of your training. You know what I mean? It's like people say, oh, bro, you don't jog, so you're not going to be able to run distance. Every once in a while, though, I don't know, twice a year, I'll say, you know what? I'm going to go for a 5-mile run. And it's nothing.
Right.
Because the way I'm training is right. But that was so funny. I'm glad you brought that up, the motocross thing, because I used to ride a long time ago, and it was a great day of training and I was a little tentative, doing jumps and hard turns and stuff like that. And the track was it wasn't like a motocross track, or it was more like it had smaller jumps. It didn't have gigantic triples and stuff like that. It was a motocross track, not a supercross track. That's what I wanted to say. Yeah. But I rode hard for an hour and a half or so. And, every once in a while I'd come in and he'd give me tips, and I'm sweating my ass off, and he would remind me to breathe, and I'd go back out for a few and he'd coach it. And I rode freaking hard. And every lap I got better and better and better because I was listening to his advice. But yeah, when we kidded down, my body was fatigued, but he said, oh man, you're going to be so sore tomorrow. And I said, yeah, probably. And absolutely nothing. It was like a regular workout. I wasn't not lower back, knees, ankles, forearms, because you're using every muscle in your body when you're on that bike, and every single one of them. It is so physically demanding doing that, especially if you're riding hard. But yeah, I'm glad because I forgot all about that.
Yeah. So in other words, like the stretching sort of thing, everything is so built into Mac's workouts, and he's diversifying things and mixing it up so many times that he's working all of these muscles that you don't work when you go out and play volleyball at the family barbecue, and you get sore for 2 days. Right. So in other words, he's not stuck in a sagittalistic plane. He's not just doing presses and curls and that sort of things. So things are diverse, which makes a point. And now let me ask something, and then we're going to go into the next question, which is on the same topic. But did you guys do any motorcycle training? I know you did driving in special ops, but
yeah, we did it all: ATVs, dirt bikes, off-road, high-speed on-road, all of the driving.
So how many guys had never ridden a bike before?
There were several, but they wouldn't be put on a mobility team either.
Right.
So there are teams that specialize in certain things, and you pick, the SMEs based on, their past experience. Like some guys are really good climbers, for instance. Right. You're not going to pick a guy who's 6'250" to be a climber. You're going to pick a guy who's freaking 5'9", 160 to be on that climbing team. Same with the mobility stuff, or with water team. You're not going to pick a weak swimmer to be on a water team. Everybody knew how to swim. Everybody knew how to ride everything, but the guys who specialized it did it more.
So what type of uses would motorcycle be?
A variety. So reconnaissance is a big one, you know,
Right.
and then when it comes to like doing an assault, surprise, speed, and violence of action, you can get that vehicle there very fast. Plus, a motorcycle can be used to, you know, clear a long linear drift. You know, something very, very linear, something very long, because it's small. You get it into smaller places, and you can get from point A to point B very fast. And you get there with two people on it too.
Right.
Plus, you could go places that let's say, you know, a Humvee can't go,
right,
because it's too rocky or the crags in the mountain are too narrow. So this thing can get out in advance and do reconnaissance. That's a big one for the motorcycles, is that
Now,
reconnaissance.
would you guys outfit those things?
Not with missiles like Chuck Norris had on them. I know that's what you were probably getting to, but no, they were just standard, you know, good, durable, like Honda 250s, you know, nothing high speed, extended a large gas tank and, you know, maybe some gear modification, but nothing special. Because what makes a bike special is the guy who's riding it.
Right. Yeah.
You know, because I had guys kick my ass who were really, really good. I mean, when I was going through the Gary Simic motocross school, I was on a YZ 400F, which is like just a ridiculously powered motorcycle, and guys were beating me on a Honda 250 because they were better riders.
It's the rider, it's the player, right?
Yeah, man.
All right, so then question number 20, Mac, favorite motorcycle you ever had or wish you didn't get rid of?
You know, I've had a lot of motorcycles. Started when I was 15 with like Gen 1 monoshock. For those of you who remember when monoshock came out, YZ 250. And way too much bike for me because that was a 2-stroke. And then I had a KZ 1000 for a little bit. And then I had a 77 Super Glide and an 83 Lowrider. The 83 Lowrider was my favorite. I bought it in Washington State. It was AMF years. I took off the Mikuni carburetor, put on an S&S. I put in solid lifters. I messed with the sprocket teeth ratio to give me more top end, put on 2-inch turnout headers. Let me see what else I do that thing. Just a whole bunch of little stuff, but it just ran. It's like it just ran very, very well. It's like buying a Fender Stratocaster. This one is pretty good. The duplicate is far superior. Right. You know, like a motorcycle company could make a series of motorcycles and they're all duplicates, but for some reason, one of them is just better than the others. Yeah, right. You know, it's how it's tweaked and tuned and the metal on metal imperfections and all that stuff. But that was a nice bike, man. And it just purred. And when I got the gear ratio right, it just sang on the highway. You know, I'd get to a certain RPM and there'd be absolutely no vibration whatsoever. Because I drove that thing from Monterey, California to Fort Lewis, Washington several times. That's a 1,000-mile trip.
Yeah, wow.
And man, that was just a nice bike. But yeah, I missed that one. I PCS to Germany and I sold it. Damn it.
Now, you guys still have the dirt bike?
Yeah, I still got that. And I'm looking for, I want another bike. Yeah. I want to in and around town, you know, just a skeletonized screamer, you know, just something gnarly. I'm not looking for I just want an in and around town screamer that I could bar hop with. Yep.
Bar hop with.
Yep.
Okay, so this takes us back to question number 21 to kind of what you covered earlier, so you can finish the thought here. For Mac, thoughts on going to gyms versus simply training at home? Is there really a difference, or have we been led down a dead-end path?
Yeah, it's all about what you do with it. Now, there's certain things you need right in a home gym if you want the results that you would get in a gym. And there's companies who make that stuff now. It's so freaking neat. You know, all these companies like Sornex, you know, they've been making home gym stuff because they saw the need for it. And they got on it real fast. You know, as soon as lockdown hit, they built this squat rack that doubles as a pull-up bar, because in a home gym, you need a squat rack and a pull-up bar.
Right.
That's one of and they call this the off-grid rack. And it is ingenious, man. It ships to your house and you just fashion it up to, hard points in your garage or in a shed. And you've got a squat rack and a pull-up rack and a pull-up bar that takes up no room. But I've got that. I've got a good sand bag that's adjustable. I could pull stuff out of it, adjust the weight on it. A couple dumbbells, a couple center mass bells. I got all my bands. But I'm going to stick with home gym because you know what I love doing? Number one, I think that when I went to a gym, I was assisted in being motivated by others, because you've got the group dynamic there. Right. Now I'm counting only on myself. Right. So I have to do that. Number two, with being a minimalist, it forces you to be more creative. And I really enjoy that. Like, even as we're doing this podcast, I am thinking about my power workout that I have to do today. Right. I'm tired. I already mowed my lawns this morning out in the heat. And I did a assload of chores, but I have to do power today. Right. So every once in a while I think, all right, what am I going to do today for power with the stuff that I have, with the minute and that I haven't done recently, because I'm not going to replicate shit. I will come back every once in a while and get close to replicating something. But I love that aspect of home gym, is being forced to be creative, being forced to self-motivate with no assistance from group dynamic. So I'm digging it. So yeah, I probably won't go back to a gym.
Yeah. One of the things that I have observed, Mac, with the questions that have come in and comments and things in Squad since I've been working with you is, there are obviously a lot of questions about training. But when I look at it from an outsider's view, I see how much the last 30 or 40 years is still influencing everybody's thinking and approach, So it's still a pumping iron.
Correct.
World.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Still working out via Muscle and Fitness. I still follow guys now. They'll show their workout and it's in a gym, nice and clean and sterile. And they've got their gym outfit on, their uniform. And, they're doing a straight up bench press. Right. And I feel so bad for them. I've because it's all sterile and, they're wearing a mask and they have to listen to somebody else's music. Yeah, they have to listen to the gym music or put in earbuds, because I don't like working out with earbuds. I want to crank up tunes, man. I want to crank that stuff up. I am loving the whole home gym thing. I am loving it. I'm loving getting back on a mountain bike and doing sprints and being creative with the bands. And it's
a much shorter commute as well.
Yeah. Damn sure is. Yep. It's freaking awesome.
So you're shaving off some time there as well.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. Question 22 for both of us. Why didn't you two continue with the Metal Excellence podcast? Mac, you want to tell them?
Yeah, well, there's a couple reasons. One is it's a branding thing. We were thinking that we may have been attacking or targeting a narrow demographic because not everybody's into metal. And even though the podcast wasn't exclusively about metal, it was about an attitude, a metal attitude. When people read, it's all about reading a title. Right. So if you read a title that says, excellence in metal excellence, you're thinking, well, this is just going to be a podcast about
heavy metal,
talking about heavy metal, which we did, and it was a driving force behind it. But that was CJ's thought. He came up with it and said, hey, we need to change the name. And instantly I went, you are right. And what didn't even occur to me until he said it. But I think my response was instant. I said, dude, you're right. We're targeting a narrow demographic, man.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about it.
It really took off after that. And which is great. If you go back to the time when Mac was on the Joe Rogan podcast, that's how Joe introduced him is, by University of Badassery.
Yep.
So, you could just tell anybody who's hears it, they love the idea. They love the label. So we knew early on that, people are digging it. And so again, it's a just much wider net that we can use. So there it is. But like we said,
it's the same podcast.
It's exact same podcast. Nothing changed. Okay. Number 23, Mac, reholstering, head up or looking at gun going into holster?
I like this question. Thank you for that. Now, I'm going to take this in I think I'm going to go to a couple different routes with this. Number one, if you're new, right, to gun work, always look it in. You look it in until you don't have to look it in, because the objective is not looking it in. Now, there are some who would say, and I hear goofy shit, goofy rangeisms and I see goofy range theatrics and all this. I have heard people say, and this is in the LEO community, and these are, guys who've been around, this is the way we've always done it. These institutional inbred motherfuckers who say that holstering is always administrative, so always look it in. To which I would say, bullshit. It's not. You want to achieve the point where you don't have to look it in, whether that's 3 o'clock or appendix, because it's not administrative. Let me give you 2 examples. Example number 1, let's say you are a tactical person. You are on a tactical, gun toting is your job. And you go vehicle assault, guns out. You get to the your objective, your crisis point, your point of domination. And now you have to de-escalate and you have to go hands-on. Just like that, you have to go hands-on. You're not going to look it in because you have to keep your focus on your adversary. So it's got to be put in safely and efficiently without looking it in, because your focus still has to be maintained. It has to be on the individual. Let's say you are on a tactical team, because I use this on the range all the time. Another example of when it wouldn't be administrative, holstering is not administrative. Let's say you come home from the range and you got your pistol on. And you're in your house and you hear a thump and a boy's voice up in your teenage girl's bedroom. You go up there and you kick the door open and you got gun out. You're not going to shoot this kid. You are going to throw him out the window, but before you do, you've got to reholster that thing. And you've got to keep your eyes on that kid. So that's kind of more humor added to it, because, he's just some kid hitting on your daughter who's not supposed to be there. They're both a couple of goofy teenagers. But initially, if you have to, absolutely look it in. Absolutely. Until you don't have to, because that's what you want to achieve.
Okay. For Mac, are you able to talk more about, this is kind of a question from earlier, about your time during the Cold War, your American Gunfighter video. You just say something like, I was recruited by a unit clouded with ambiguity. Mm-hmm. Was this centrist spike, or whatever it's now called, always found that part of history interesting? Now, and any books you recommend about that particular period? You talk about this. I've heard you go in detail about this.
Yeah, and he's talking about not the job where I was spying in the Soviet Army, but the networking, in Berlin. He's talking about that one. And I talk about it quite often. I mean, we don't have the time on this podcast to go into detail, but it was a cool job because we were living on the economy. We had good cover for action, cover for status. We were long hair, leather jackets, tracksuit, body odor, all that crap. I had a job on the German economy. I lived on the economy. I was on the Berlin wrestling team. I got paid for it. I was on a Berlin cycling club. So you tried to immerse yourself as much to the population as you could, and you ran routes and you set up networks and you found safe houses and you serviced dead drop and signal sites and stuff like that. But it was cool as hell. There is a book, and if you just like blanket search Amazon, I think it's called something like Special Forces in Berlin, about Dead A. So Dead A became the unit that I was in. Yeah, so it was a cool time, but I think that's what it's called, Special Forces in Berlin.
One of the privileges of being co-host of the University of Badassery podcast is when you're at Mac's house, he shows you all that stuff.
Yeah, right.
Mac was showing me all the gadgets he used from back in the day.
Yeah. I still have a couple. I don't have. I think that's one of my regrets, is I don't have a lot of memorabilia from that time. Yeah. Like even the wall. I built a lot of plaques for people with chunks of the wall, and I would fashion them on a trophy board, a plaque board with pieces of the barbed wire, and they were really cool. And I just gave them out to people when I came home, gave them away. And they were like, oh my God, I can't believe this. I have a piece of history, but I've got zero of it. I've got none of it, because I would find the original Stachelgrad, the original barbed wire from up north of the wall, because I knew where to find it. So I would cut off chunks of this rusted metal, and then I would hit it with a clear sealer just to kind of protect it, but keep the rust in there. And there were neat little plaques I built, but kind of regret not bringing any of that stuff home.
Okay, on a related topic, number 27, what do y'all think of the band Jungle Rot?
I don't have much to answer because I don't know them, but I hate any band. I refuse to listen to a band that has like nasty body part, like phlegm or snot, or even dying fetus, shit like that. Like Jungle Rot is nasty. That is some nasty freaking shit, because I've had jungle rot. It takes forever to get rid of that stuff. Right. But I just hate when so I won't even listen to it if they got a name. No, if they have, even Mudvayne grosses me out, right. Because that's freaking gross, bro. You're talking about a freaking sphincter. You're talking about an anal cavity, a Mudvayne.
Right.
And I want to like Mudvayne, but I understand the name.
Right. Yeah. Jungle Rot is a band I know about, but have never listened to them. But, however, my lady one of her best friends of all time is the manager of Jungle Rot. So she could probably answer the question. I can't. Okay. This question. We get this a lot. I get this a lot, necessarily on the podcast, but people will message me. So let's try to nail this coffin shut. After listening to your show, I try to start listening to metal. Some of the music seems sacrilegious, and I would guess I just don't understand what the lyrics actually mean. The actual song I'm referring to, I believe, was God Hates Us All, Slayer song. But there are many others that seem to have the same theme. I was hoping you could discuss the topic some so I can listen to metal with a clear conscience. I did get my daughter a 4-album set on LP from Lamb of God, and she really likes it. And thanks to Mac for signing my books for me. And then a related question we also got, I always wondered how you balance the religious thing with the metal thing. A lot of the metal songs I've heard sound like Satan himself coming through the speakers. Well, there's a couple things here. The song you're referring to is, even though he says God hates us all in it, the song is actually Disciple by Slayer. The first thing you have to understand about heavy metal is very honest, and it will be very exaggerated in anything that it approaches. So it's not metal bands, especially when you might call a satanic kind of band, they're not attacking so much God as it is institutional religion. That's what they're attacking. And institutional religion has given them plenty of reason to attack it.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So whether it's preachers robbing people of their money on TV, or pastors sleeping around on their wives, or a bunch of priests and bishops raping small children, or, political involvement, and on and on and on, and just acting like general douchebags. Okay. Now that's just besides the good people, but there's good people on both sides. So, but I think that's what they're attacking more than anything. And so if you consider, like the song Disciple, God Hates Us All, that's kind of what it's attacking, because what it's saying, it's kind of dealing with that primary philosophical thing of, well, if God's so powerful, why does he allow suffering? So, but that's what they're attacking is, it's a response to the Jesus loves you thing. Okay, well then we were just talking about sex trafficking. Does he not love all those poor kids who are being sold as sexual slaves? Right? Then the other thing is, for those of you who are trying to listen to metal with a clear conscience, or it sounds like Satan coming through the speakers, get over yourself. Okay? Because
it's theater, bro.
Yeah, it's theater, number one. And number two, you ain't that clean, Hot Rod.
Right.
I think if I went through your Netflix and I went through the stuff you watch, even behind your wife's back, I think I'd be a little surprised at how much soft porn stars you're probably aware of. You know what I mean? And some of the crap you've shown your kids and all of that stuff. So please don't act like this. This is just obviously, hi, I'm the devil. Notice my horns, notice my tail. But you see, the real sin that the Bible talks about is, it calls it the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eye, and the pride of life. I guarantee you're battling with that daily. It's not the obvious things of the pentagram and all this kind of stuff. That's easy. That's all, like Max said. It's all theater. So if you want to talk holiness, then let's talk holiness. Let me move in with you for a week and see how damn holy you are. Because I'm going to find out, if anything, you'll be the best sinner that ever went to hell. But what does that prove? Right? So whether you miss heaven by an inch or miss it by a mile, it's the same thing. Okay, so that's all of that. However, if you would like to indulge in metal, there is a plethora of Christian heavy metal bands that are just as heavy as Slayer or Lamb of God or anything else. So check out Theocracy, check out Living Sacrifice, check out Demon Hunter. A lot of great metal bands that are Christian. You know, the old school stuff like Barren Cross. Barren Cross sounds exactly like Iron Maiden. I mean, the guy sounds exactly like Bruce Dickinson.
Cool.
You've got Stryper, you've got all that stuff. So that's it, guys. And so for me, you know, you don't need to worry about how I balance these things out, because I'm not your standard. And I refuse to be your standard.
Yeah, nor am I. I mean, I throw horns up all the time, people, and that's it. It's an attitude thing, man.
Yeah, it's all an attitude thing.
It has nothing to do with the devil, even though it's horns up. It has nothing to do with it. And a band like Slayer, I mean, they all came from religious households and they're practicing Catholics. You know, they don't take themselves serious, nor do their fan base. Their fan base knows it's all just theater, and it's cool, man. And it's freaking up. It resonates positive attitude.
In fact, regarding that song, there's an actual interview that you can look up on YouTube. Tom Araya, singer for Slayer, who sang God Hates Us All. He was asked about the song God Hates Us All. And so he responded. This is what he said. He said, dude, God doesn't hate. He doesn't hate everybody. He goes, but it's a cool ass fucking title.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it really is about the attitude, like Max said. And I will add this just as a footnote for the purely satanic bands, the ones who really go out there with the goats' heads on spears and, you know, from Finland or all of these, you know, Norwegian countries and all this kind of crap. They're full of shit too. Right. They're absolutely full of shit, because if you're really satanic, I mean, if you're really that evil, then you should celebrate the sodomizing of small children.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So, of course, they don't celebrate that. And if you came over and robbed their little rehearsal space and took all their instruments, they'd be calling police and calling down the thunder, because they have this belief all of a sudden that there's right and wrong in the world. And that's obviously not satanic. So they're terrible Satanists too.
Right.
So, you know, don't take it too seriously.
Yeah.
For Pat Mack,
right.
I'm 40 and nowhere near the shape I want to be in. Start slow or attack. Or
man,
always attack slowly.
Yeah. Always start slow, right? Because you need a start point, and you need to establish a measuring stick, you know. So build yourself a couple little diagnostics, you know, like how many push-ups can you do without killing yourself? How long does it take you to jog a mile? You know, stuff like that, which at 40, you should be able to do some push-ups and run a mile. But start slow, give yourself a diagnostic. And can you do a pull-up? You know, that kind of thing. If so, how many? Can I do 1 or can I do 6? And jot those things down. And then just start slowly into it. And every once in a while, return to that diagnostic. And then when you see improvements, because you'll see them quick, you'll see them in a few weeks, you'll go, oh my God, it's already working. And it won't be a massive improvement, but, you know, establish your own diagnostic. Just jot those few things down. It could be a shuttle run instead of running a mile. You know, it could be just a standard, like old school Army AFPT, sit-ups, push-ups, 2-mile run, that kind of thing. But yeah, start slow, because if you attack, what happens is you're going to end up with injuries. It's not an opinion. It's not a if, it is an absolute. And you might feel good for 2 weeks, and all of a sudden, you threw your back out because your supporting muscles aren't strong enough, you know, and that's when guys get jacked up. They were like, well, I used to be super fit, you know, in college, and I'm just going to start working out again. And they go at it full freaking balls on, and they're like, man, I feel freaking good. And then 2 weeks into it, good. Now they're hospitalized. Now they're in bed, you know, and they can't freaking move. So yeah, started out slow, bro. Started out slow, work all those planes of motion, work in the full muscle spectrum range. Just take my advice on the stuff that I've been putting out there on the interwebs.
Boom.
Yeah.
Okay. For both of us, what are you or Pat's thoughts on using TRT, aka testosterone replacement therapy? I know it's popular these days. I see ads all over for it. Do either of you use it? If not, would either of you use it at a certain point or age?
I don't know. I don't know enough about it, man. I just don't know enough about it. I have people talk, and here's the thing: guys will talk to me about it, and they're on it, and they're in their 30s. I'm like, you're in your 30s? Why? Why? Your body can produce it, man.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I just don't know enough about it, so I don't even know how to answer the second part of it. If I will, you know, that kind
of remember Kip from what's the movie? Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
When Uncle Rico asked him, you ever looked into time travel?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked into it. I looked into TRT.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, is testosterone replacement therapy is harmful for this primary reason, because the more you give your body of that hormone, then the less your body produces it. So you'll always be on it. And that's going to be your problem. Most of the time, hormonal imbalance it's kind of like getting a good mix with sound. I remember talking to a friend of mine who's a sound man years ago, and he's an expert. And he was saying what everybody misses about the mix is when they want to hear more of something, they always want to keep turning up the volume of one item, which ends up drowning something else out. So they turn that up. Pretty soon, everything's loud.
11.
He says, what you got to start doing is pulling down the other things. And then that guitar comes out, or that bass comes out. And it's the same thing hormonally. We don't realize how much we're doing to boost estrogen. So the issue is not so much your testosterone level, so much as it is how much estrogen you've got building up. And a lot of that comes down to your diet. So I would work on diet before I would do anything else. Now, there are some natural testosterone supplements, but from what I have seen, they will boost your numbers up about 100, which is okay, but you're not going to feel it for the most part. You're not going to, for the most part, everything that you're feeling now that would cause you to think I may need testosterone replacement therapy is directly related to your nutrition. Hands down. I guarantee you, if you fix your diet, you'll have energy out the ass.
All these bread eaters, man.
Yeah, dude, exactly. Like I tell people all the time, I said, listen, we could talk guns all day long, and we could talk Sentinel all day long, and we could talk deadlifts all day long. But if you don't get those sugar and carbs under control, you'll be dead before they break into your house. All right. For both of us, I was just talking about this to somebody the other day, man. What are your thoughts on the following bands? Are they considered metal in your opinion? We've kind of talked about this before, Mac.
Yeah, we've done a bunch of them.
This would be the opposite of what Mac was saying about jungle rot type name bands.
Oh, right.
Vein. Bands named like this, in my opinion, I immediately don't like. Right. Miss May I?
Nope.
Devil Wears Prada?
Nope.
August Burns Red? Memphis Mayfire? Now, August Burns Red is actually a Christian band, so that's another one.
August Burns Red is all right.
Memphis Mayfire, Asking Alexandria, kind of. I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't
see when I listen to the radio new bands. These are all Octane because I do
liquid
metal. So I don't know these bands well. What was the one? August Burns Red.
Yeah,
they've got some good tunes.
Yeah, that's because
they'll be playing liquid metal.
Remember, you and I were talking, I think, on one of the live streams recently in the squad, where we were talking about this very question. And I said, these guys that are just like short hair and t-shirt and jeans, but they're like all over the neck. Mm-hmm. And we're kind of wondering, is there a Judas Priest poster in their bedroom somewhere? Please let me know there's some roots and some of this other stuff. Mm-hmm. I think part of the problem for me also with a lot of these bands is the content. I want to hear from, I want to hear the themes that came out of Priest, Maiden, Metallica, even Lamb of God, Chimera, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Because they're just more grand. They're just more, it's just as much about that as it is, because these are very sophisticated players. There's no doubt about that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I will not take away from the musicianship of any band. I will not do that. But when it lacks the other things that make metal metal,
yep.
You know what I mean? I mean, what if Judas Priest only sang about seeds and flowers, but still had the same music, same riffs?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't work. It can't be green Manalishi in my garden. You know, I grew some green Manalishi
in my garden. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, so it can't be that. So you got to have the metal themes. I get it. You know, listen to things, whatever makes you happy. But metal is such a lifestyle. Metal is there's a comic book element to it.
Yeah, right. Good.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You got to have that exaggerated reality, that it's a transcendent meaning that gets imposed into physical life. That's why it's attitude based. You don't want to. That's why we don't sit around and listen to country, because I don't want to sing about trucks, or you listen to people singing about trucks, especially singing about trucks or tractors that they don't actually drive.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Fishing trips that they don't never been on, and about grandfathers that they've never actually met.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They're just Nashville pretty boys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so metal is not that. Metal sings about grand themes. And one more question, Mac. Do you conceal carry all day while at home?
At home, I don't, but I bring stuff with me. For instance, like right here, right. Boom. I mean, that's in the security of my office right now, but I always have something that travels with me, but not concealed. Nah. As soon as I come home, I have a dump. I dump everything, and then I'll carry it with me from room to room.
So is the point of that, just in case something goes down, you don't have to go across the house?
Correct.
Right.
Like yesterday, I was doing a podcast with Chris Gronkowski,
right?
And I had the door shut. Kids were home alone, in their rooms or something, and the dogs started going crazy. And I'm like, what? I'm in the freaking podcast.
Right.
So I cracked the door real quick, and somebody just came to drop off a package or what have you. But, the thing is, I got the door closed, headphones on, and without the dogs barking, I wouldn't have known if somebody actually came in. But I did come out with my little stick here.
Right.
So, yeah, because imagine if it were like a home invasion or something, and I came out and got a pipe across the face.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Well, and there's your argument for the dog again.
Yep. Dog. First line defense.
Scared whoever it was and gave you an alert. And how about that?
Yep.
All right. Pat Mack. Dude, always.
Hell yeah, man. It was good. Bro, I talked my ass off for almost 2 hours and 45 minutes. Holy crap, man. I'm exhausted. I gotta get some food in me now, bro.
All right. Do me a favor. Let's do a sign off.
Yeah, man.
Okay, guys, patreon.com/coaching squad. If you want to join the Pat Mack Keep the Blaze Alive coaching squad, awesome stuff happening. Do that. Follow Mac at TMAX Inc., TMACSINC. Follow me at Metal Motivator. And remember, in whatever you do, Pat Mack,
don't suck.
metal up.